Welcome back to another episode of the Creative Finance Playbook Podcast. I'm your host, Jen.
I'm Joe.
And today we have our good friend, Michael, who is also a Florida native over here, living in Fort Lauderdale. And he is excited to share with you all of the ways that you can put your money to work for you. Michael, thank you so much for being on today. Let's hear your story, share with our audience some different ways to be investing in real estate.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate both of you. And as you know, I've been following both of you for quite some time, and I'm so impressed with your success and also how big of givers you are by teaching other people how to become successful just like you guys. So I want to commend you on that. And I appreciate anyone who's a big giver like that. So thank you.
Well, thank you for the kind words. But yeah, it feels really great when you can help others just put their money to good use and really help them out of situations and do really great things in the world.
That's great. Well, I have a unique strategy that is a turnkey strategy that's done for you. And I started this for myself many, many years ago. And how I got into the real estate business was because I was a stockbroker first. So right now, as you said, I live in Florida, and my name is Michael Poggi, P-O-G-G-I. And I grew up in Chicago as a young Italian man, and my family told me I needed to get a job. So I went downtown to work as a stockbroker downtown Chicago. And of course, I accelerated very quickly because I worked 14 hours a day. And I learned a lot from my clients. My wealthy millionaire, multi-millionaire clients taught me that the stock market and mutual funds is a joke, and that, frankly, it's gambling to them. So I said, what do you mean? I mean, everybody owns stocks and mutual funds in an IRA or a 401k plan or a stock account. And they said, well, we make our wealth from real estate. And I said, well, how much wealth? They said, well, out of a $10 million net worth, we invest 95% of our money in real estate and only 5 or 10% in the stock market. That was pretty interesting. That was a wake-up call for me, because I would have a client send me $500,000 to trade, but yet at the same time, they had $9.5 million in land and development projects and flipping, new construction, mobile home parks, etc. So I got a chance to follow them around and learn from them for the whole 9 years that I was a stockbroker and even owning my own stock brokerage firm. And I met hundreds of successful multimillionaires, and they all had 95% or more of their money in real estate. So I decided to start practicing with my own money, and they started to back me up. They started to invest in my new construction projects and my fix and flips and my vacant land purchases. So what I did was I started to make money with them, and I sold my brokerage firm, moved to Florida, and decided to live my life on vacation all the time in Florida, except for the hurricane, right? So that's how it got started. But what I learned was that I wanted to keep my risk low. So what I did was I started to buy quarter-acre buildable vacant lots. And at first, I was buying them in Florida, like the common areas that you guys know, like Lehigh Acres and Cape Coral and Punta Gorda, Fort Myers. So I started to buy vacant lots in there, and I just held on to them. And I was buying those lots in my self-directed Roth IRA, which we call a real estate IRA. And that gave me the ability to let them appreciate. And when they doubled and tripled and quadrupled, I started to sell them, but I sold those lots on terms. So not only did I make a profit, from selling them at a double or triple, but I also was able to make an interest income of 11% interest above and beyond the profit that I made. So I got paid twice for every lot. And I did that hundreds of times. Well, then I found something very unique. I started to practice with vacant lots in resort communities only, instead of regular common subdivisions that had no amenities. So I decided to try different things, and I went ahead and invested in only resort communities that had lakes and golf courses and paved roads, only a quarter acre, and only between $10,000 and $20,000. In other words, cheap lots, right? And that was the biggest decision I've ever made and the most beneficial decision I've ever made in my life. And that got me to be able to put a lot for sale later when they appreciated, and have a better chance of selling them faster because they were in a resort. So it wasn't just a husband and wife who wanted to buy my lot to build a house on, like in Florida in a regular common subdivision, But instead, it opened it up to millions of investors who would want to buy the lot to use the amenities, like to use the lakes and the golf courses and all the different clubhouses and tennis courts and swimming pools and all the neat things that come along with the resort. So I started to practice with that. And I became very, very laser focused and very successful at finding quarter acre buildable vacant lots in fast growing resort communities. So I went ahead and started to do this for myself and my family. And then, of course, my friends started asking me for help. And then all my clients that I used to have from my stock brokerage firm started to ask me for help. And so I turned it into a done for you program where now we find lots for people that could go into their IRA, or they can use their old 401k plan, or they can use their stock portfolio and sell off some stocks or mutual funds and use it for vacant lots. And what's interesting is that we have such criteria. There's only a few subdivisions in the whole United States that meet my criteria, and they have to meet all of the criteria or we don't go into them. So as you can imagine, the criteria got so narrow so that our risk goes way down and our potential for profit goes way up by picking resort communities that are under 20 grand, that are quarter acre, that are buildable, that have trees on them, not even grass. So no grass to cut, so there's no mowing fees. So only wooded lots on paved roads with utilities, and they must have all the lakes and golf courses, and they must have some houses built in there, like maybe 10% or less built out in the subdivision. So that means that we're getting in at the beginning rather than waiting till the subdivision is 80 or 90% finished, where we might be paying 80 or 90 grand for the same lot that could have been bought cheaper. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. It's a great strategy how you niched it down so far into just the right communities, the right size lots, obviously. And then I
Mm-hmm.
love the IRA strategy. That's what we do inside of our Roth IRA. We've done
Mm-hmm.
land deals, we've flipped land, we've done houses, we've owned rentals in them. So I love the idea of a self-directed IRA, a real estate IRA is what you said, because in some of these you don't ever get taxed if it's a Roth. If it's a traditional IRA, you get taxed when you pull it out, but the gains just keep adding up and growing before you get to that point.
Well, what's interesting, Joe and Jen, was that I learned how to buy those lots on terms, meaning
Mhm.
put only $500 down and control the lots and let them appreciate over 5 years or 10 years and let them double and triple. And then I sold them on terms. So I was literally floating money on the way in and the way out. And I became my own bank inside my IRA where I owned hundreds of vacant lots where people were paying me $300 a month per lot or $500 a month per lot. And that really made such a huge amount of passive income without no tenants, no toilets, and nothing to do but just receive an ACH payment, automatic payment from their LLC into my IRA every single month on time. So I had no headaches and no risk of anything going wrong. And here's why. When I sell a vacant lot on terms, I don't give them the deed until they make their last payment. It's no different than an automobile loan. When you buy a car and you put down a deposit on a car and you get financing, you don't get the deed to that car, the title to that car until you make your last payment. So it's the same concept. So I have zero risk to sell any piece of land on terms. So if there is a default, it doesn't bother me at all. The default rate though is very low because of the fact that you don't have to foreclose on them and they're paying money every month on a very low amount, maybe 300 a month or 500 a month or something like that. So it's easy to be a landlord of land. It's easy to be the bank selling land on terms at 11% interest, for another 7 or 8 or 10 years and have no tenants or toilets. So I like that strategy for me, and it certainly turned into a done for you program where now we probably place between 50 to 100 lots a month into investors' accounts that ask for our help. So what happens is that we don't carry the lots in inventory. We just wait until the investor places an order. So we have a waiting list, and on the waiting list is probably about a dozen people that have seen a seminar that I spoke at live or a webinar, and they have asked me to help them to find 10 lots at 10 grand each, or 5 lots, or 2 lots, or 1 lot. And they go on a waiting list on a first come, first served basis. And then when the lots come in, we show them to them. And my whole team handles everything from searching the lots, making the offers to the sellers, walking the lots, taking pictures of the lots, checking for liens, making sure it's on a paved road, making sure it's a quarter acre or bigger, making sure there's no power lines running right through the middle or deep ravines or any problems at all. And if it passes all my criteria, it comes into my inventory and goes right back out the next day to the people on the waiting list. So it's very simple, a simple procedure. And we've helped thousands of clients, probably close to over 4,000 clients now with this process as a done-for-you program. And some people want those lots to be sold right away, where they want the lots to be used only for cash flow. So we have a part of our company that assists people in selling the lots for them and handling the buyers, handling the contract with the new buyers, and setting up the payment plan into my clients' accounts. So we handle everything from the buy part of it to the sell part of it, and helping out with fulfilling the passive income needs of an investor.
Man, you guys really take care of a lot there. Finding the deal, finding the seller, the buyer, right? And then the seller or well, the buyer again, ideally. So that's a lot of
Right.
moving parts. How do you manage to do that with your team? Do you have a lot of people working with you?
Yeah,
Or
how big is your team?
6 people only, and these are people that have been doing it for years for me. So I've got some people that have been with me for over 10 years, some 15 years, and they're experts. So it's pretty easy to do. One person checks for deeds on 50 to 100 lots a month. Another person is talking to sellers. Another person is physically getting out of their car that lives in the subdivision, that has to drive around and look at each lot and take photos of the front view, side view down the road, that side down the road, and then print all the aerial photos and the maps. And those all come into my holding tank, my inventory holding tank, to go right back out to buyers that have requested those. So we provide them with a spec sheet, a data sheet that shows how far each lot is from the lake or the golf course or the hiking trails or the other tourist areas around, things like that. So we provide every single detail, including the lot, the block, the parcel ID, and then the map of where it's at in the subdivision. So very detailed. So my team is thorough, and they know exactly what my criteria is. When a lot comes in that doesn't fit the criteria, we reject it. So maybe it's less than a quarter acre. Maybe it's way too steep, like it's straight up and you can't build on it. If that's the case, we just don't buy it. Very simple.
man, so you're tight with your criteria there, and if it doesn't fit in that box, it doesn't go.
You got it. So very tight. As a matter of fact, I know that, a lot of the people that you guys know from the family have bought lots in their IRA or their LLC, like even including Matt Andrews and other people like that. So I've been able to help a lot of people in the family mastermind and other groups that I'm involved with and where I speak on stage, etc.
Wow.
Yeah, and I just love that approach too, because who would you say like this works best for? Like your, kind of avatar client.
The avatar client is someone who's not looking to quit their job immediately, like they have a busy job. They're a teacher or a doctor, a dentist or veterinarian, and they're looking to trade their stocks and mutual funds and get out of those and get into vacant lots. Because the truth is that vacant lots probably will never go down. So when someone buys a vacant lot for 10 grand, they don't have to worry about that dropping in half like a mutual fund. So if you bought a mutual fund with $10,000, it could drop to 7,000 or 5,000 in just a week or two from bad news about a war or some kind of other problems going on. People don't want the volatility anymore of the stock market or the mutual funds. They choose land for safety because I've never lost one penny of any of my lots going down in value, because a $10,000 lot is not going to drop to 5 because the housing market slows down or because the stock market takes a big hit or because we go to war. So it's safe on the downside, but the upside has really been for me 20% return per year on average. So if I hold a lot for 5 years and I bought it at 10, it should probably be at 20,000 within 5 to 6 years. And that's been normal, including in Florida, where you guys know, like Fort Myers, Lehigh Acres, Cape Coral. I have made so much money in those areas, although they weren't a resort and they took longer to sell than a resort lot. I still was able to at least make 20% return per year by just holding on to them and not selling them too soon. As a matter of fact, my biggest mistakes and my biggest regrets are selling hundreds of my own lots that I owned to keep for myself. I sold them too soon at a double. So if I bought a lot at 10 and I sold it at 20, some of those lots are now $65,000 15 years later. I should have held every single one of them. And looking back now as a very mature investor and polished, I know better. So from now on, any lots that I buy for myself are being saved for my wife and kids. So when I pass away, I'll be able to give my kids 500 lots or 1,000 lots when I die. And by that time, they should be worth 80 grand a piece or 100 grand a piece from just not selling them too soon. But the key is really resort communities, because selling a lot in a regular community takes longer to sell because it's only for people that want to build a house usually. Where if you're selling a lot in a resort community, there's so much more to offer, like the amenities, the boating, the fishing, the diving, and all that stuff that's available. People from all states would love to buy a lot in a resort community and use it for investment purposes and to use the amenities. So that's been my secret sauce. And then selling them on terms is a gold mine. And let me explain how I did this. This is the funny part. So I used to try the traditional, normal ways of selling on terms, which said 20% down, must have good credit, blah, 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 all that stuff. And that didn't work so good. So I changed my wording of my advertisement, and it turned into $1 million decision. And that is, instead of saying 20% down or must have good credit, blah, 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 I put in the ad 0 down payment, 100% financing, no credit check, everyone approved. And that got me 80 phone calls in 2 weeks.
Oh,
And
man, I can imagine.
I didn't realize just the wording of that ad would make such a difference. So then people would ask me, why is it that I don't need to put a deposit down? And why don't you care about my credit? Well, the answer is obvious, because if I'm not going to give them the deed until they make their last payment, I don't care if they default, because I get to keep the money they paid me and take the lot and resell it again at a much higher price anyway. So there's no risk in me giving someone a loan to buy a lot from me when they have bad credit, because a lot of good people have bad credit these days, and that's fine. So that advertisement turned into $1 million decision, which made me a multi-millionaire from being able to buy lots, hold them, sell them on terms, and do it all tax-free in my self-directed Roth IRA. So most of my investors have liquidated 100 grand or 200 grand of stocks or mutual funds and did a rollover into a self-directed IRA, and then ended up buying lots at 10 or 12 grand each. And they now hold those in their IRA tax-free. So when they go to sell them later, or maybe they give them to their children when they pass away, what a gold mine. Vacant lots are one of the easiest things I've ever done. And now at my age of 60, I don't really want to be involved with a lot of difficult things and lots of trouble and people. I prefer the easy life of owning land and let it appreciate without any headaches of any tenants or toilets or anything or any upkeep for me. That's the reason why I switched over to vacant lots, for my safety and for having a peace of mind and an easier life.
Bam! Oh my goodness, what a beautiful vision you've just, casted. And so if people are listening and they want to reach out to you, Michael, we'll put everything in the show notes below, how they can, but is there any place in particular you want them to be directed?
Well, if they go on the website, michaelpoggi.com, they'll be able to see a lot of the stuff we just talked about, and then they can click on something to schedule an appointment with my team. And so they can schedule a free consultation, and they can then ask all the questions they want, like, where are the lots at? How do I get your help? How do I buy some lots? And can I use my current K plan where I work? Yes. Can I use my old 401k plan? Yes. Can I use my current IRA at Schwab? Yes. Can I use my current IRA at a custodian? Yes. So we can answer all those questions, and then also give you a tour and show you what the subdivisions look like that we invest in. We've got drone footage and pictures of all the lots we buy and maps and everything to explain it inside and out. And then if someone decides to get my help, we just go ahead and put them on the waiting list for the amount of lots they want. And we fill the orders, we transfer the deeds, and they own them free and clear with no involvement. And there's nothing else they would need my help with unless they want us to sell them for them.
Oh, that is really exciting. I'm glad we had you on here today, because that's just really, it's a unique strategy. It's very creative finance. You're using self-directed IRAs, which I also love inside of it. So you're marrying a lot of great things together. And then how you've niched it down to a product that is in resort communities, limited lots available, and you're getting in early. And so as those developments start to grow over time, those lots become more scarce.
They sure do. And once you're the last lot left in the neighborhood, that's when that lot's worth 100 grand, and you can sell it easily to the neighbor on the right or the neighbor on the left on terms if you want, and get another 10 or 11% interest for another 7 to 10 years. So it's a gold mine to do something of that sort.
Man, well, I love this. Well, thank you for coming on today and sharing that. I can't wait to connect with you. We're going to be seeing each other in a few weeks at the mastermind. So I'm really looking forward to that too. I absolutely love what you're doing, and the fact you're doing it with creative and lots and in a special niche really shows that you've really zoned in on what's working right now. And you've been doing it for a long time. So obviously it's working well. So I absolutely love to hear that. So thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah,
I appreciate you guys. Thank you for your friendship and allowing me to teach people what I know.
absolutely. Well, until next time, guys, make sure that you are investing your money wisely and give this a like and a follow if you are listening. Tell us below what your favorite takeaway was, and we will see you on the next time around.
See you
Bye,
guys.